What is up, everybody? Legend here, and welcome back to the channel. Before we jump into today's deep dive explainer, do me a massive favor. Smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed for more content just like this. Today, we are wading into some incredibly heavy, seriously complex territory. We're going to objectively review the jaw-dropping preliminary hearing updates in the criminal case against David Anthony Burke, who you probably know professionally as the music artist d4vd. Now listen, the details coming out of this courtroom are graphic, they are intense, and they are painting a picture that has completely shocked the entire music and entertainment industry. It is a lot to process, so stick with me as we unpack the whole thing.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to methodically break this whole case down into 5 main areas. First, we'll look at the actual allegations and charges. Second, the vehicle and discovery. Third, the forensic evidence they've uncovered. Fourth, the alleged financial motive. And finally, number 5, the legal ramifications and current status of the case. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The allegations and charges. The tragic case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
Right off the bat, to really understand where we are right now, we have to understand the current legal phase this case is in. We are smack in the middle of what's called a preliminary hearing. If you're not familiar, a preliminary hearing is basically a multi-day legal proceeding designed to figure out if there's even enough evidence for a case to proceed to a full-blown criminal trial. I want to make this super clear for everyone watching. This phase is merely here to establish probable cause. It does not deliver a final verdict of guilt or innocence. It's basically the judge looking at the evidence and saying, okay, is there enough here to actually take this to trial?
And the primary charges against Burke? They are unimaginably grim. He is officially facing charges for the murder and rape of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez in Southern California. Now, I have to say allegedly when mentioning his charges here because that's how the legal system works. But honestly, guys, as we go through the facts the state has laid out today, trials from every angle show clearly that he's cooked in this case. The prosecution is absolutely not holding back. They have presented profoundly graphic evidence in court, including actual photographs depicting the dismembered body of the young victim. And they are doing this purposefully. They want to demonstrate to the judge the extreme, horrifying brutality of the crime Burke allegedly committed.
That brings us to Section 2. The vehicle and discovery. Reconstructing the timeline.
A massive, and I mean massive, portion of the state's case revolves around Burke's vehicle, specifically a Tesla, where the victim's body was ultimately found. The prosecution has meticulously reconstructed a timeline that places the suspect right at the exact center of this concealment. According to prosecutors, surveillance video actually captured the very last time that Tesla was seen being driven. And guess who is behind the wheel? David Anthony Burke. The video allegedly shows him parking the car in the exact spot where it was eventually searched by police and where Celeste's body was found. Think about that. For over a month, the body remained concealed in the trunk of that car. By the time authorities finally made the discovery, the remains were heavily decomposed, completely overtaken by insects. Burke was the last one to drive it, and he just left it there for weeks.
And guys, out of this discovery, a highly specific and frankly bizarre detail has emerged. The number 11. Authorities found 11 air fresheners inside that Tesla. 11! They were scattered all over, in both the main passenger compartment and in the trunk. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter so much? Because prosecutors are using this very specific detail to establish his state of mind. They are arguing, and it's a pretty strong argument, that whoever placed 11 air fresheners in a vehicle absolutely knew there was a decomposing body inside and was desperately trying to conceal that horrendous odor. I mean, it's an absurd attempt at a cover-up, right? But legally speaking, it is a powerful piece of circumstantial evidence tying the suspect's direct awareness to the crime scene.
All right, moving to Section 3, Forensic Evidence Uncovered, Mapping the Physical Findings.
We are shifting our focus now to the physical evidence that allegedly connects the suspect's residence directly to the vehicle. And honestly, fair warning, this is where the details get deeply, deeply disturbing. So, blood evidence found in the trunk of the Tesla tested consistent with Celeste's blood. Now, that makes sense, right? That aligns perfectly with where her body was actually discovered. However, and this is a huge however, investigators also found blood consistent with hers inside the main passenger compartment. This raises a massive red flag and a whole bunch of new questions for the prosecution. If she was allegedly killed somewhere else and merely transported in the trunk, why on earth is her blood inside the main passenger cabin? This piece of evidence is actively shaping entirely new prosecutorial theories about where the violence actually occurred and how the transport was handled.
This forensic evidence acts as a bridge, illustrating the prosecution's strategy of connecting the suspect's home directly to the horrors found in that car. Let's look at the search warrant of Burke's house. Investigators go in, and what do they discover? 2 chainsaws, 2 of them, which prosecutors allege were used to dismember the victim's body. Furthermore, the floor mats in the Tesla also tested positive for blood, which just deepens that mystery of the passenger compartment we just talked about. But guys, perhaps the absolute most damning forensic link in this entire case is the inflatable pool. Listen to this. Investigators found an inflatable pool at Burke's house. During the autopsy, the medical examiner discovered fragments of that exact same pool on Celeste's dismembered body. They matched the fragments perfectly. The physical link from the house to the pool to the trunk is practically a straight line drawn by the prosecution. It's just wild.
Which takes us to Section 4, the alleged financial motive, the intersection of celebrity and criminality.
We've talked about the physical evidence, right? The how and the where. Now we have to pivot to the prosecution's theory regarding the why. What drives a wildly successful artist to allegedly commit such a horrific act? Well, the prosecution's theory centers on a dark secret. They allege that Burke engaged in the sexual abuse of the 14-year-old victim, an arrangement that actually began when she was just 13 years old. According to the state's case, Celeste had threatened to expose this abuse to the public. For Burke, this exposure wouldn't just be a bad PR scandal, it would be a complete and total destruction of his massive music career. He allegedly saw her as a massive liability that simply needed to be silenced.
And the crucial point here is the money on the line. Burke wasn't just protecting his reputation, he was protecting between $13 million and $19 million. Let that sink in. That is the reported value of his incredibly lucrative contract with Interscope Records. The prosecution is leaning heavily into this financial testimony, arguing that Burke was trying to protect this massive payday at absolutely all costs. It is a chilling intersection of celebrity, immense wealth, and extreme criminality.
Finally, Section 5, legal ramifications and status, the weight of the justice system.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at how the justice system is processing this unprecedented level of violence and what the immediate next steps are. Because of the special circumstances involved here, we're talking the age of the victim, the rape, the dismemberment, the stakes literally could not be higher. In a major update from July 2026, the district attorney's office indicated that the death penalty remains an active option on the table. This is highly significant. It underscores just how severely the state is treating these charges. They intend to seek maximum retribution. The sheer brutality of the facts has placed a massive strain on the judicial infrastructure, causing some procedural delays, but make no mistake, the state's hammer is undoubtedly coming down hard.
I actually want to read you an excerpt straight from the criminal case report because it perfectly encapsulates the gravity of this entire situation. Quote, "The subject, once a figure of cultural relevance through his music, is now being processed by the justice system as a high-level predator. The case is no longer about art. It is about the most primitive and violent impulses of the human species." End quote. I mean, wow. His entire cultural relevance has been completely 100% eclipsed by the catastrophic nature of what he allegedly did.
So where does that leave us today? Well, we have a few more days left of this preliminary hearing. Probable cause isn't the only hurdle here. It's the special circumstances that will be the basis of a massive, drawn-out legal fight in the coming days. The judge is expected to make a ruling very soon. With the death penalty looming and this mountain of forensic evidence piling up, will the judge rule for David Anthony Burke to stand trial with his life officially on the line? It certainly looks that way. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this heavy explainer. I'm Legend, and I'll be keeping a close eye on this trial as it develops. Make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives, and I will see you in the next one.